Ithaca presents The War Below, written by Ernest Scheyder and read by John Moraitis. It takes as much energy to wish as it does to plan. Eleanor Roosevelt. Prologue. A Discovery. A glint of light caught Jerry Team's eye late one afternoon as he drove through the cragged Nevada landscape and into the encroaching dark. The New York Botanical Garden had sent the 31-year-old botanist to collect samples of Nevada flowers and other vegetation for its library of plant samples known as a herbarium, the largest of its kind in the Western Hemisphere. Team's assignment was simple: find odd, unique, colorful, and hopefully undiscovered plants. He was then to flatten them using a press he kept in the back of his truck, store them between sheets of newspaper, and send them to New York, where they would be glued to large sheets of white paper, studied, cataloged, and preserved for future generations. If any plants were found to be interesting, more scientists would be sent out for further research. Then, as now, Nevada's flora has long been the least explored in the United States. More is known about plants and flowers in remote Alaska than the jagged desert corners of the sagebrush state. To me, it was a dream job, recalled Team, who studied botany at the University of Nevada, Reno, partly to avoid being drafted for the Vietnam War. Nevada has always been the last frontier for plant collection. It was May 18th, 1983. Ronald Reagan lived in the White House. The Space Shuttle Challenger had its maiden launch the month prior, and telecom provider Ameritech was preparing to make the world's first commercial cell phone call. 6 years prior, a scientist at Exxon, yes, that Exxon, had invented the lithium-ion battery, a feat that would eventually revolutionize the world's economy and its fight against climate change. It was also an invention that would link directly with Team's Nevada work that day, work that would attract one of the world's largest automakers, stoke the ire of one of America's most preeminent conservation groups, and spread worry through the corridors of power in Washington and Wall Street. Team was very much unaware of that future as he guided his burnt orange-colored Chevrolet Blazer down a steep embankment of gravel barely recognizable as a road. All the botanist could think about was finding a safe place to camp. Those barren hills of Nevada, known as the Silver Peak Range, were not forgiving for those without a plan, especially in the Stygian dark. But that hint of light, flickering ahead of the dusk, beckoned Team. Amid what looked to be unusual, light patches of ground surrounded by a sea of darker rock, the botanist noticed a wildflower that hugged the earth, almost like an herb. Stems of about 6 or so inches protruded from the soil, with leaves of bluish-gray hue and flowers of pale yellow. Hundreds of the plants seemed grouped together densely at the site, known as Rhyolite Ridge. But Team was unsure why. He had stumbled upon the plant at the peak of its blooming season, from May to June, when the golden flowers emerge resplendent for nature and dazzle the bees, spiders, and other creatures that pollinate it in the seemingly barren desert. By July, the flowers turn red with age and begin to cast off ripened seeds, propagating their next generation. Late summer brings a hibernation that lasts through the next year. Team followed procedure. He collected 15 samples of the flowers, pressed them, labeled them, and cataloged them for New York out of the bed of his truck. He pulled out his tent and camped for the night under the wide expanse of the Milky Way. Back east, months later, Team was reviewing his field notes and still couldn't identify the plant. James Reveal, a University of Maryland professor, who had also studied his notes, wrote to say why. Team had likely discovered a species of plant previously unknown to science. Reveal, Team, and a group of other botanists
Sample complete. Ready to continue?